out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuning in to Apartment 5B podcast, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me. In effect, as always, the R&B guru, the youngest in charge, R&B guru. We getting this.
I like that.
We about Muhammad Ali Cash play your ass out here, man. The youngest in charge, R&B guru out here, man. What's going on, JR?
What's up? I like that. What's going on? I'm glad to be back.
No doubt. My brethren, Vague out of BK. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on, man? Shout out to the homie, Javon Johnson, comedy. Nigga, actually.
Yes. Woods crazy, bro. Crazy to see everything that he's doing. So proud of that boy, man. I remember him being in the studio recording for our album. He was talking about that he really wanted to start getting into comedy. And that's 5-6 years ago. So it's amazing to see where he is right now. Yeah, love to see it. Love to see it too. My brother Trey Lee out of Philly. What's going on, brother?
All is well, man. Good to be back 2 weeks in a row, you know what I mean?
No doubt, bro. Talk about this single, man. This new joint that's out right now.
It's taking a life of its own, man. It's called Party Time 25. It's essentially a reboot of the thing that's Party Time 25 years later, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to OJ's on the track and on the hook. He absolutely murdered it, man. So the DJs is going to carry this record, man. I ain't got to do nothing. DJs is going to, you know what I mean?
All right, no doubt. Vague, I know you feeling this joint, right?
Yeah, well, this is my message to Funkmaster Flex, man. Play that shit, man. Stop all this nonsense at night. You talking abuse, you hyping shit up. Play that shit.
Yo, I knew we had someone when Vegas hit up the joint. He was on the bed, and he was like, "Oh, this the one." You know what I mean? Simple as that. Off of the clip, you know what I'm saying? Salute to you.
No doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. This week's show is going to be called The Glenn Rivers Show. For people who may not know, Glenn Rivers is otherwise known as Doc Rivers, the coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, who I've been wanting to get the fuck out of my city for the past 2 years. Why is this show called The Glenn Rivers Show? Because back in 2022, or this year, back in February, they listed Glenn Rivers. I don't even call him Doc. He don't deserve that nickname. There's only one Doc in Philly, and that's Dr. J. So Glenn was named one of the top 15 dopest coaches in NBA history. And to me, that's a crock of shit. I don't even know whose pockets he padded. I don't know if Austin did some shit to get him. I don't know how he pulled that shit off. Because, number one, if you're a big NBA fan and you remember this, he should have been fired that year he got KG and Ray out in Boston. And I'm never for a black coach being fired, but he should have lost his job that year coming into the year that he won the one chip. Number two, this boy wasted Chris Paul and Blake Griffin's. They're at the height of their career, and these dudes could never even get into the Western Conference Finals. That makes no sense. And the worst part is this nigga owns the record for having a 3-1 record in the playoff and losing with 3 different teams. How are you up 3 games to 1 and you lose on 3 different teams, bro? And you're a top 15 coach of the year? Fuck no. Of the year, I apologize ever. Nah, not at all. But they got me thinking. When you see people's top 10 lists, especially on Twitter, that's a whole nother world of right now. I'm realizing there's Twitter and then there's reality, because Twitter is like some old Deep Space Nine alternate universe type shit. But when you see people's top 10 lists, or you hear people who talk about this could be a GOAT MC, and you're like, word? This person? Like, nah. So that's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. people that you've seen on people's top 10 lists that you don't feel like they deserve to be there. Now, number one, for me at least, this is no knock on some of these MCs. I'm not saying that they're dope. I'm not saying they're not incredible. I just don't feel like they need to be worthy of one of the top 10 ever. Hip hop is going to be 50 years next year. I don't believe that these people that I'm naming at least deserve that top spot. Other people could be like, nah, I killed these niggas on my list. I feel like they whack as shit. But for me, the first person I'm gonna start with is Eminem. I don't get Eminem. I know a lot of people who have Eminem as the greatest rapper of all time. Just period. I've never seen it. Now I will say this about him. Most of the people who I know who really, really rock with him are MCs. And I understand from a production standpoint that there are things that producers do that I hear because I'm a producer that may be what I call a civilian, may not hear. I never hear most people say Dilla is a top 5 producer ever. Most people know I think he's the GOAT hip hop producer ever. But I can also understand why, because I understand the shit he's doing to make these beats. Somebody else may not see that, so I totally get it. So with M, it's not a knock on M. I just think maybe he speaks an MC language. Like Vague and Trey, I don't know if you remember when that Royce Lupe shit was going on, and it was like Royce, Lupe, RJ Payne, and Mickey Fax on a Zoom call, and them niggas was speaking a whole nother language that I ain't even fucking understand. Now I'm sure you two understood. Like them niggas was like, oh, he just doing a such style, and he doing it. I was like, the fuck are y'all niggas talking about? Because they were talking like an MC language that I don't get. So again, I'm not saying Eminem is whack. I'm just saying that I think how do people say he's an MC's MC? You know what I'm saying? So that to me is why M isn't, I don't even know if M is in my top 20. So when I see him in people's top 10s, I'm confused, but like I said, I kind of understand, because everybody I know who does that in the real world, not the Twitter world, but the real world, they're all MCs. Does anybody else have M on their list or want to chime in about M? Like, no, I think he should be there, or I shouldn't, or yeah, Kill, you're right, he speaks a certain language. Vague, Trey, JR?
I'll say I don't have him on this list. If I added him to my top 10, it's strictly about bars then. That list is strictly about bars and ability, because that's kind of what we tend to give him props for, the ability, right, to put the words together, regardless of the content, how he puts the words together, and the execution, of it, because you can put them shits together, but can you execute it, performance-wise? And I think he's one of the best. I gave an example because I was talking about this earlier with someone earlier this week. And Rock the Bell's Instagram had been posting that one freestyle that has Mos, Black Thought, and Eminem. Right? And all three of them killed it. But the thing, and I can't really, with Mos, I don't know. But with Black Thought, I kind of think I got it. But M was freestyle. And that's kind of what he does. Like, if you say freestyle, he's like old school hip hop. He don't want to hear that written shit. Right. He's gonna try to go, and I think that's what make MCs like this fucking white boy kind of crazy. Like he's just he's trying to prove himself even at a point where he probably doesn't even have to. So if I put him on the top 10, and he's probably 10, right? Because I have my favorites. It's strictly off of lyrical ability and not necessarily content.
I agree. I think skill set, like he's definitely skill set. He's definitely top 10. He's in the class of Pharoah Monch, Black Thought. Skill set, strictly skill set.
Now tell me this, because I've heard a lot of people say M took a lot of Pharoah.
Oh no! You definitely hear the similarity. You definitely know there. Cool G Rap. He took a lot from Cool G Rap too. I mean, Cool G Rap really was the predecessor of all of that style of rhyming. When you start talking about these syllables, putting together these syllables, 3-4 syllables that rhyme together in a sonnet, in a bar. You know what I'm saying? Like Cool G Rap to me is the father of that. and everybody else is a derivative of that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So when you talk about that certain skill set, he's in that class, and he's definitely top 10 in that particular class. But when you talk overall, he's not in my top 10.
All right.
He's not in
No
my
doubt,
top 10.
no doubt. JR, any M hoopla?
Not really, like, y'all said everything. Like, he's not in my top 15 either, but skills, he's dope like that, but that, I'm good on it.
All right, no doubt. Vague, I'm interested. Who's on your list, man?
You know, if you've been watching Apartment 5B, Writer's Bench, I almost wore the hoodie for Hoodie Vegas. If you watch some of the old videos, I'm be wild.
You hoodie mellow tonight. You hoodie.
Nah, I didn't put the hoodie on. But my list is hoodie-ish. A lot of people gonna be mad. I got hip hop and R&B.
All right.
So I'm gonna start off with Drake. I think a lot of times cats will, and I'm not just talking top 10, right? I'm talking just high in a list, right? If you got top 25, he's in top 15. I have a tough time putting certain people ahead of other people who I know are better than him. And I feel like with Drake, when he rhymes, he's dope, right? And I'm more of a fan of the singing shit. And I like the house shit too. But I feel like when it comes to the rapping shit, sometimes he gets boosted because he does something that's really dope on the rapping side. So then it gets, overblown because it's like, yo, it's a embodied by a singing nigga, right? Like, people were calling that the greatest diss record of all time. No, the timing was perfect. The fucking timing was perfect. But bars wise, there was a couple lines like Twitter fingers. I use that shit. Right. But I just kind of feel like we kind of give him extra credit because he doesn't necessarily give us hip hop albums. And when he does something dope on a hip hop tip,
it's like multiply.
Yeah, it's like it's multiplied. Like, yo, he killed that shit. I can't put him. There's so many people I cannot put him in front of to even in a top 10. But I see it. You know what I'm saying on Twitter and everything, where I'm like, damn, Drake. Drake, where Cool G rap? Oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So, it's almost like I feel like with them bulls, it's almost like it's like tell me you're under 35 without telling me you under 35. Like Drake is the number one rapper. Like, oh yeah, you're probably around 33. It's like, yeah,
Right.
Who's on your R&B list? Because this is what I'm hyped about, JR. Like, I want to know who's on the R&B side of things. I ain't even do R&B.
I'm gonna just tell you like this: young folk and old folk catching it tonight.
I got a feeling where he gonna go. I got.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
I got a feeling.
No, not really. I'm gonna start with old folk. Barry White. I love Barry White.
That was actually on my list.
I love his producing.
Yeah.
This nigga can't sing. Like,
at all.
He got a great radio voice. It sounds good
and that's it.
But he's not really, he's not really singing. Like,
no.
And again, it ain't like I'm on. I mean, is there old Twitter? Like, I'm not even on a Twitter where old heads are like, nigga, Barry White had the best. I'm not on that Twitter, but I know that there's a group of individuals who I've heard it before, talk about Barry White, like, he's the greatest gift, and I'm like, yeah, I like him stylistically, the way I like Rick Ross. But I'm not gonna say, Rick Ross is better than Nas and some shit. No. So
it's funny. I think people treat Barry White like he's Teddy Pendergrass, and he's not.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah.
I've never heard of that. That's interesting because I would have never equated the two.
Like I never even I see Banks saying that I never saw Barry White really almost as a singer. You know what I mean? Like for some reason, like I would have never thought, but he is. You know what I mean? But he's just a deep voice nigga. He's like if Mike from fucking Boys to Men just got his own album. almost. You know what I mean? Like, and he just talked all the time. Because I feel like that's what Barry does. He kind of talks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Shit, Secret Garden, that nigga just talk.
You know what it is like for me? Because I think like coming up and you watch how your parents and people of that age react to certain singers, and you see them react to a Barry White tune in the same way they react to Marvin Gaye.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, you know, both of these dudes must be great. But then as you learn more and you learn who are the singers versus people who are just okay, you're like, yeah, I don't really hear too much talk about Barry White not really singing like that.
Right. Almost like Isaac Hayes. Like
I was about to say, they in the
That's
same vein to me.
That's
They in the
another
same
one.
vein to me.
Yeah. But I mean, when I think of Isaac, when I'm thinking of Walk On By or, you know, joints like that, it's like I feel like he's talking more than he's singing. I mean, he is singing, but y'all know what I mean. But
I
Joe
feel
is like a great voice. But
Yeah.
he's not really singing.
Barry
Right.
White and Isaac Hayes should be known more for their production and what they did. They
Right.
try to give them a lot of singing, and that's just not it. They known
You know
for their
what? It's funny.
production.
It's almost like a Pete Rock. Like, he's known for the beats. Now, Pete can rhyme, you know what I mean? But I would never really put Pete in an MC category almost.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I don't think
Right.
Pete Rock's name is ever going to come up on anybody's list of, you know, a top 25 MC. He's a producer who just happens to rap, and the rap is cool, but not dope pull.
Right.
Dope pull. Trey, who you got, man? You know I'm interested in MCs. Y'all two on this view right here. Who you got on your list?
All right, so I'm going to, you know, my disclaimer is this. This guy is probably in my top 5 artists of all time with regards to MCs being an artist, right? But he doesn't make my top 5 MCs. I'm not saying, I mean, top 10 MCs, and I'm not saying he's not knocking on the door, but there's a lot of factors involved with this. There's the fact that, and I'm going to give it away by saying this, he's in a group, right? He doesn't have a solo project, right? And that's Andre 3000.
Crazy. I got 3,000 on my list too.
He's top 5 artists. Like he's so artistic, bro. Like the way his mind thinks, and he's highly skilled as an MC. I'm not saying he's not. Personally, again, he's in my top 5 because like him, Pharoah, you know what I'm saying? These are top 5 artistic MCs, bro. They can do whatever it is that you want them to do. They sound pleasing to the ear. Their musicality, their palette is second to none. But I can't put them in my top 10 MCs of all time, and that's because of these other factors that we're talking about. You can't detach him from OutKast. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a group. You can't be, and he's never given me, other than The Love Below, he's never given me a solo project with just him rhyming. You know what I'm saying? So I just based off of that, I'm not saying he couldn't. Again, and he's one of my favorites, but I can't put him in my top 10.
Nah, it's funny because I got him too. And Nick, shout out to Nick who used to always be on the show. He actually gave me this nugget and I ran with it where he was like, yo, I can't, if you're in a group, I can't put you in my top 10 if you've never released solo material. So to me, that's the difference that Pharoah has on a lot of other MCs who are in the group, because he has put out multiple projects solo. You know, and for people watching, again, if you don't do this, it's kind of like, it's totally, and Veg and Trey, I'm sure can, you know, speak on this. It's much harder to come up with 3 verses to make a complete song than it is to just come up with a 16 and then your man come up with a 16 and then maybe y'all go back and forth on a 16 and you do 8 apiece. You know what I mean? So it's totally different. So when Nick kind of schooled me to that, I was like, yo, I got to bite that, because that's a good rule, because I can't put you in the same category as the person who has done 3 verses 14 times for an entire album and put you in there too. So yeah, definitely. And you're right, Trey. I see a lot of people who do have Andre in their top 10 MCs ever list. I'm not even gonna hold you. He used to be on mine years ago until Nick kind of put me down with that. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're kind of right on that. You know, it's not fair to put somebody who's never released a solo album. It's one of the reasons why Lauryn Hill will never be my top female MC, because it's like she's an amazing MC and she did amazing things on the score and with the Fugees, but you know, she never gave me that solo hip hop album, you know, for her to kind of get over the railing with me. So I totally agree with you 100% on that. Veg, what do you think about that? Are we being too hard on MCs who are in groups?
No, because I actually had Lauryn Hill for the same reason Trey mentioned. You know, when you think back, you know, we know she's dope as hell, right? But when you start to think back, you like, okay, well, she stood out on the Fugees. She didn't need to hold down the entire song. Most of the time when she did, I don't know about that first album, but, you know, it's Killing Me Softly, you know,
right,
with the sing. And then when Miseducation came out, you know, again, we know she's dope, so we listening to Lost Ones like, damn, she's crazy. But it's not the entire album. And,
right,
you know, and that was it. Like 50 Cent said after that, she put out an album with no beats. Even though I don't remember that. I don't remember that album, but I just thought that was the funniest shit in the world. But, yeah, I don't think it's, I mean, again, it's like with the Eminem thing, right? You know, okay, yeah, we were rating Eminem off of skill and ability. Well, she definitely has that, right? Yep. So, yeah, she does rank high if we just go in there.
Right.
But I think in general, like what us, you know, we music fans and we love hip hop, and we come from an era where it was about your album,
right?
And that contribution, you know. So when you think about it from a group perspective, there's a lot of cats we could just start going to groups and saying, you know, like, could you say the same for Prodigy? I mean, right, you know.
But I mean, he had
solo
projects out. But he had, you know, solo projects
he
out.
did, but
how were they? How were they?
Bro, I mean, I know some people, and here right on time. Here comes my deep aficionado. You know what I mean, right on time. But I mean, I know people give that H and IC, you know, a huge piece. But nah, I totally feel what you're saying. Now, I think the other side that people don't understand too, and I have to explain to people, when you make music, you're also listening to music a different way. You know what I mean? If you're just 100% a civilian and you just listen to hip hop, trust me, you're probably listening to it in a different way than those who make it, those who, you know, have to sit here and try and come up with sequencing of the tracks and all of this stuff like that. So we see it in a different view. Bro, you good, brother?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. JR, real quick, let's go to you. I'm interested, who makes your R&B list of people that you hear that are top 10 but shouldn't be top 10?
I'ma fuck this shit up. James Brown.
all right, I'm out, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I'm out too. I think I'm out too.
Whoa.
Did this man say James Brown?
He said James
I
Brown.
love it. I love it.
But here's the wild part. I
mad
can't
at
really
it.
be mad.
Not
I can't be mad.
He is
I
hollow.
can't be mad to an extent.
I can be mad. I can be furious.
Trey's mad.
Explain to me. You think?
You gotta give your argument. You gotta say.
Oh, well, my argument. First of all, for me, I'm not saying that he can't sing. That's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that he can't sing.
Yeah,
but what I don't like,
tread lightly.
Huh?
I said tread lightly. You say you can't sing, but tread lightly.
Right, you gotta remember you dealing with a fucking alien. This nigga was back in '63 in the studio with James, so he know all the tricks.
I'm not saying that.
This nigga was back with Doc and Marty. So
he is James a lot because he is the full artist to me. Because when I be seeing lists, they be having him in front of Sam. They be having him in front of Jackie Wilson. They be having him in front of, you know, Nat King Cole and all these dudes. And he's not a better singer than any of them. So I don't understand when I be seeing these things, just like you said about Barry. He's great with production. But how is he great? How is he on top of them? That's what I don't get. You know what I mean?
Trey.
He's not in my top 10. But if you want to say 20, yes, I throw him in there. But top 10, no.
all right, Esquire Lee wants to have a word. What's going on, Esquire?
No, I just got a question. Are we basing this strictly on, okay, going back to the MC, are we basing this strictly on singing skills? Or are we basing this on totality, complete body of work? What are we basing this on when you say he's not top 10? That's what
I thought we were just going just on skill.
See, it's different for MCs. Right?
Well, here's the thing, and I'll say this. I'll be the person to say this because I know a lot of people, don't. And this is a great segue, JR, why we need to do the show that we were just talking about doing.
Right.
Because here's the thing. I don't think the average, keyword is the average person. I'm 48. I don't think the average person really knows James' discography. That's number one. The average person knows fucking welcome. What was it? Living in America. From the Rocky movie. I mean, that ass like that ass like.
You picked that one.
Us hip hoppers.
He right. I'm
about the average person. You know what I mean? I remember being a shorty because again, y'all got to remember this would come back to the music your parents played because it's not like none of us were alive when James was doing James. So if you know James, it's because of the music your parents were playing. Because I grew up in a jazz household, I didn't know a lot about James. So the first time I really really fucked with James, and this is the craziest story, but it's the truth. When Eddie Murphy did Hot Tub on Saturday Night Live, I'm just being honest.
Wow, really?
If I grew up in a jazz house, nigga, how old am I when James is killing it? I'm not fucking born.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. Like, yo, how do y'all expect me to know about somebody I wasn't even alive?
Wow.
And my mother didn't play him. So why would I know about James Brown? I wouldn't. So when I was like talking to my dad, I was like, yo, this nigga Eddie Murphy plays out the Hot Tub. He's like, oh, that's just James Brown. And then he would play me some James Brown stuff. But keep in mind, I was 84. I'm 10 years old now. Right. So again, I don't think the average person, even my age, knows James like that. They may know James because their parents played him, but they don't know James the way we know EPMD.
Right.
I challenge anybody right now to name me 5 James Brown albums.
You talking about me?
No. I'm talking about everybody else. Name 5 James Brown albums. We can name 5 Eric B. and Rakim albums. We can name 5 EPMD albums. We can name 5 Gangsta albums. Everybody right now, name me 5 James Brown albums.
I think everybody, at least in the era that I grew up in, and you not that far behind me, Kill. Right. Everybody that grew up in our era of hip hop can tell you 20 James Brown songs.
Right. But that's key. But the initial question was name me 5 James Brown albums. Nobody can do that. And I don't think that's just for this panel. You can't, Vay?
Well, I'll say I probably can, but I'll say this though. I would have never said living in America, right?
Yeah,
never.
Right.
And I can think of joints that's not like Sex Machine and all that. You know what I'm saying? We all know them, right? You know, man.
Let me ask the question. Why would you know those?
Why would I know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
How did you know James?
Oh,
Radio.
WBLS, my parents, television. You know, like, I mean, I get your point because if you're growing up in a household that plays a lot of jazz, where my house did, I don't know a lot about. I learned a lot about jazz through radio, right? Working at jazz radio stations, and I knew a little bit because of hip hop introducing me to some of the jazz that was sampled. But when it comes to James Brown, like, yeah, we don't know them intimately because we weren't there. But as a music fan, it is possible for you to know everything about somebody you didn't live there.
No. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I'm just saying that. So, and again, I'm not talking about anybody on this panel. I'm just talking about people in my circle. People who act like all these records. I go to people's houses and they act like they know every record that's in it. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't. A lot of these records I got because I was trying to find samples. If they didn't have samples, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean, that we don't know James the way we know EPMD. Because that wasn't our era. If anybody right now said name me 3 Mobb Deep albums, they could. Most people, the James I know is based off of the samples that we heard. You know what I mean? For me, I can only talk for me again. So the James Brown that I learned was from digging. And just like Vegas said, he learned about jazz from hip hop. I learned about James Brown because I be playing hip hop and my dad be like, "Hey, ain't nothing but James Brown. That Public Enemy, that's James Brown." You see, so that's how I knew it. But it's not like I'm born in 1974. It's not like I came out the womb with a turntable and was listening to James Brown. You know what I mean? So again,
that's what Twitter expects.
Yeah, that's what Twitter would expect.
Okay.
But you're older than me. So do you feel like your generation knows James? And when I say knows James, I'm relating it to the same way that we know Stevie. I can name you 5 Stevie albums. I can name you 20 Stevie songs. Do you think our generation, the average, again, this is the average person, knows James like that?
I think I think the average person, anybody that was born between, let's say, 1968 and 1975, I think they do. After that, it gets dicey. You know what I'm saying? You have to be like an aficionado, but that's because, again, going back to what you remember, like I know the Spinners like the back of my hand because that's what I heard when I was 2, 3, 4 years old. You know what I'm saying?
So it's based off of what your parents played.
And the radio. And the radio. And so that's what most of us have gotten our music from before, hip hop was introduced. But it was either by your parents or by the radio station that you listened to when you was growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So JR, back to your point. You're just saying that as far as in your mind, you're looking at it as far as singers, that you don't feel like James Brown is a better singer than Sam Cooke, Nat King Cole, and the other people that they're putting on top.
And Jackie and Donnie and
he's not. And I think this may go back with what Trey was saying about him. He's a great showman. Like James is probably the greatest showman of all time.
Absolutely. Artistic wise, yeah, he's top 5 for real. When you talk about artists, yes. But as a vocalist, I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad singer, but better than all these people that I named, no. And that's why for me, he's not in my top 10. You know what I mean?
Too loud. How you doing? That's crazy.
My bad, Trey. You on the other John? I know you got to dip off in and off.
Hold on.
Trey all over the place tonight, but he good. Bro. All right, so JR just shut down all the shit with James Brown. But I understand, good brother. I understand. James, growing up, even I was like, there's a lot of grunting and a lot of hooting, but I don't like I hear a lot of hoots and call niggas names out, but I'm not hearing actual vocals. And I think James gets a lot of fucking love for his band too. Like, let's not act like the production that was around James was not a huge piece of why we fuck with James the way we fuck with James. Like,
because I mean, if you think of his beginning years, and that's with like Please 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 and Prisoner of Love and all those early 60s joints, he's singing. But I'm like, if I'm comparing it to everybody that was out around the same time as him, I'm like, he all right, but like y'all said, the band helped. And clearly, when he did Live in Apollo in 1993,
Trey is doing 5 things at once. I appreciate you being here, good brother. So no apologies necessary whatsoever. This man doing interviews for his new album, for his new record at the same time being on the show. I ain't mad at all, bro. I appreciate the hustle. I did that shit once. Yo, bro, I had 2 jobs at one time. I'd be like, yo, all right, I'll go to lunch. And I literally would go to the other job. True story. I quit my job and I was like, fuck that. I'm trying to get these 2 weeks paid from both these people. So I would leave one and go to the other and just be there. I was like Eddie Murphy. Like, I'll be right back. If Inspector Todd looking for me, like, tell him I'm over here. So, Trey, I appreciate the hustle. But now, JR, I feel what you're saying because I think it's the overall picture that James does present, Right. And again, I don't know. And this is why we have to touch on what we talked about earlier, because is James like a CL Smooth? Meaning, if you take away... No. Hold tight.
Wait a minute now. I ain't going that far.
Hold tight. Y'all ain't even let me finish.
Oh, my God.
What I'm saying...
Y'all got a lot of nerve as soon as I said James. Y'all dead.
I'm out.
Everybody
I think I'm out, too.
I'm going to be me and you in a minute. Me, you, and Rel. All right. Rel, this is what I was trying to say, is that if you take now when Pete Rock, here's the crazy part. When Pete Rock and CL Smooth was out, everybody loved them. Let's not act like people thought CL was just we love Pete Rock and CL Smooth, but when CL without Pete Rock, his name hasn't rung bells like that. So what I'm asking, because I don't know, is if you take away Clyde Stubblefield, if you take away the JBs, if you take away James's band, is he the same? That's all I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to compare him to CL Smooth like any disrespect. It was just, if you look at Guru with Gangstar, look at Guru without Gangstar. What's up, babe?
James Brown was the maestro, man. He picked those dudes for a reason. You know his history of telling niggas that hit it on the two, hit it on the one. He's directing these cats.
He's
they
the
nice.
producer. He's the producer.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So what you're saying is that if the JBs left, that he was basically Prince. How Prince had fucking
he would get somebody else. Okay,
that's all I was asking.
He's like the
this is why, you know what? This is why the youth can't learn from you OGs, because y'all fucking yell and get mad at people. I'm just asking a question. These niggas got up and left. I'm like, I'm trying to learn.
Anytime a nigga can have a whole verse, anytime a nigga can have a whole verse full of pleases, he only says please.
Yeah,
and you feel that shit?
That's
you
it.
Like, come on,
again,
man.
This is why the young boys can't learn nothing, because you OGs get mad. I was just asking a simple question. And niggas got this is why the youth can't learn. They too scared to ask a question. I'm just asking a question because I didn't know, and niggas got up and left.
Right.
God, y'all, it's a rough crowd. Look, I see why the young boys can't learn from y'all.
You know why? Because we from that era where we like, well, ask your question then, nigga. We like, damn, now I'm even more afraid that.
Right. I'm like, God damn, I just said CL Smooth, and niggas just rolled their eyes and left. I'm just asking a question that I don't know, so I'm trying to get educated, and y'all just got up and left. No wonder these goddamn kids are the way they are. Well, what about you? Who is on somebody's top? You don't feel like they deserve to be there, man.
3 Stacks, man.
It's funny. We just talked about it. We literally just talked about it.
You just said it. Love him.
But what's your reasons? It could be for different from ours.
Yo, like, you can't put him up there if he ain't had to carry no song or no album by himself, dog. Like, you don't even know if he can do it. Like, he nice.
That's what
he
we said.
nasty, but you know what I'm saying? If all he gotta do is give you a verse here and there, like, and they crazy, how can you put him up there with people that's giving you albums and full songs by themselves that's been crazy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's nice skill wise, you know what I'm saying, but it's impossible for me to put him in the top 10. And a lot of people put him up there, and like, it's not fair, dog. Like, they'll put him in the top 10 and put Big Boy in the top 3,000, and it's like not fair, bro. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna go with 3, and I love 3 Stacks, but he just can't be in the top 10, bro. Like, it's just not fair.
Nah, we literally just said the same thing verbatim, so we on the same page. Next person I got up is Lil Wayne. Now, I will be the first to say I'm not the biggest Lil Wayne fan. I've gone back and listened to Lil Wayne because people have challenged me to. I think Lil Wayne would probably crack my top 10 as dopest guest verse, because I feel like whenever I hear Wayne verse, he kills that shit. You know what I mean? But from the Wayne that I have heard, now keep in mind, I don't know the mixtape Wayne. And that right there may be the reason why somebody may be like, well, you don't know mixtape Wayne, and that's why Wayne, whatever. But I know Vague has, because Vague is one of those people who this man has listened to fucking everything. So I'm gonna go to him for a second. But, and again, this is no knock on Wayne. Again, I always tell people who are a little younger than me, you gotta remember, I knew Lil Wayne when he was a little kid, and it was bling bling. You know what I mean? And it was like literally one day he was just some little kid, and literally the next day people were like, oh, he's the GOAT. And I'm like, I know I tapped out for a minute, but the fuck happened? And then when you throw in the Gilly allegations too of niggas writing for you, that kind of throws me off. So again, it's not a knock on Wayne. I think I heard the Carter 2 or 3 or maybe both, and they were good. They were dope. You know what I mean? But I just don't see him being a top 10 MC. Vague. Does mixtape Wayne? If adding mixtape Wayne onto this, does Wayne get in your top 10?
Lil Wayne was on my list.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like, I think a lot of times he gets placed in that category because of or in a top 10 because of influence. You know, I think he birthed a whole generation of rappers in the way they look, in some cases the way they approach lyrics, right? His lyrics wasn't always too serious with the bars, so he was kind of playful with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's times he's had some shit. It's almost like Drake, but I would put him above Drake, right? Because he's a rapper. And I kind of feel like there's plenty of times where he's killed it, but again, when I make top 10 lists, and I don't even like to do that shit, I always have to think of who am I putting Wayne in front of? And every time I come up with somebody, like, am I putting him in front of Jay-Z? Hell no. Am I putting him in front of, Biggie? Nope. Like, it just goes down to that, and he just gets pushed further and further out. So I get why he makes people list because of his impact, and he kind of took the game to another, with the Carter series and the mixtapes, to another level, not necessarily a lyrical level, but, just a different era of rap. And I think he deserves his props for his bar work. But, I mean, if I'm rating on, strictly ability and skill, there's just certain people he's not better than for me to put him ahead of them on a top 10 list. So.
Right. All right. Anybody else have Wayne or want to speak on Wayne?
I think y'all covered it. I mean, I would agree. He's definitely not in my top 10.
Now, quick question. Vague, I've never heard about the influence part. You know what? I don't even want to make no more fucking comparisons tonight. Not with this motherfucking crowd. I'm like the pastor who I done read the crowd. This the Sunday morning crowd that was at the club all night. Y'all.
Oh my God!
I already see what I read the room, nigga. I know how to read a room. I ain't
listen, man. Listen, ask your question, man.
Right. It's your show.
Hey, it don't matter. It be my church, and the crowd be sleep on me, nigga. I can read the crowd. I have learned to read a crowd in 48 years, nigga. I know when I'm gonna walk to the party, y'all about to rob niggas. Let me all take my ass home.
Ask your question.
Nah, but the thing I was gonna ask is, JR, I didn't know this until like you and started hearing people about how people said like Brandy is the vocal Bible, and how this new generation of singers really zoom in on Brandy and her skills and everything like that. Vague, do you kind of feel like that? Because I never heard anybody say or really thought about how Wayne influenced this new generation of MCs. Do you see that? Like, do a lot of the younger MCs look at him as like, he influenced me or he's the godfather type thing?
Yeah, like, I mean, they started to look like him, right? Like all the locks that showed up, as far as the hairdos. The way they dressed their clothes, that kind of rock look with the way they were wearing their clothes, like you look at a dude like Lil Baby, right? His whole outfit is what Lil Wayne was doing a couple of years ago. They don't
styrofoam cup
his style of rap because it is different with drill and trap and all that. But he was a big influence on a lot of cats, just because he kind of balanced coming from an era where skill was the thing with being a little bit more carefree with his lyrics. And I think a younger generation, unlike us, was just more attracted to learning lyrics that wasn't so complicated to understand. You know what I'm saying? Not all the time. Now, he's had some bars that have been like, got my shit down packed. I call it Patricia. It's like, nigga. But to us,
right.
It's like, really? But to them, it's like, oh yeah, because that is Patricia. Oh, I get it. So, it's, they have a different scale for how they rate, their MCs that they like. it's more stylistic for them. Whereas for us, we like, yo, this nigga bars is kind of whack. So
right. And again, I feel like it's the same thing with Drake. If I'm having a conversation with somebody in person and they say Lil Wayne, I'm like, you're under 35, aren't you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think too many people over the age of 45 are gonna have Lil Wayne in their top 10, just because, like you said, who's getting pushed out the way? You know, because we're gonna be talking about the Ice Cubes, we're gonna be talking about the Nas's and the Kanes and the G-Raps, and somebody 33 isn't gonna be talking about the Kanes, the G-Raps, the Nas's. So, you know, I definitely think it's an age too. Trey, who you got up next, bro?
I mean, let's stay in the same vein, and I'm gonna take the low-hanging fruit on this one. And pretty much, you know, you can apply whatever you said about Wayne to this person I'm about to name. Influence is undeniable. He definitely influenced a generation of people after him, and that's Kanye West.
Kanye on my list too.
I mean, pretty much you can take whatever you said about Wayne,
right,
apply it to Kanye, especially for the younger generation, because Kanye is God to them. You know what I'm saying? And the shoe fits. You know what I'm saying? Lyrically, he's average. You know what I mean? He's a self-proclaimed genius, and I'm still trying to find the genius. I don't get the genius part. Like, he's good, and he definitely had his hand on the pulse with regards to understanding what a particular generation was looking for, and he gave it to them. And I guess maybe that's a part of the genius. But musicality, but he did. But I can't front. He started a lot of trends.
Yes, it would. I don't think it would be Kid Cudi's. It wouldn't be none of these Travis Scotts. None of them.
Yeah, all of that. All of that. He ushered in all of that.
Yeah.
But no top 10. Nah.
I just had, simply put, doesn't write his own rhymes from the door. When I found out he ain't Walk Jesus Walks, I'm like, Jesus, that's your first song. Like, I get you getting a ghostwriter later in your career because you're so busy, but you coming from the door with Rhyme Fest writing your rhymes. So for me, that's what I had on my list for him. JR, who you got up next?
Who am I gonna go with? We said Isaac Hayes, right?
Yeah, well, I kind of just tapped him on to.
Yeah, but he was on my list for sure. Like y'all said, he just be talking for real, like.
And he be talking some good shit, but he's just not a singer to me.
Yeah, that I'm not. Yeah, his like production wise, yes, like top dog, but singer, no.
Hey, JR, can I piggyback off of the R&B situation? And you might have this person on your list. How about Dionne Warwick?
That's on my list. I can't. My mother loved her. I can't stand her. I can't stand her.
She gave you some fucking bad advice or something. I know she was doing the future tarot card. Did she tell you was gonna fucking do something?
I can't
true.
Stand her voice, yo.
She gave that nigga the wrong lottery numbers, man.
Yeah, right. I'm like, yo, bro. He turned up like, yo, I do dynasty. Like, yo, I can't stand
I
that.
right on my
He
list.
ready to slap the shit out Dionne.
Yeah, like, yo, she gave you the wrong Powerball numbers when you called or something, man.
Yeah. I don't like her voice at all. I can't stand it. My mother loved her. I'm like, whatever. Go ahead with that.
I mean, she had mega pop hits, right?
Yeah.
I don't get the top 10. No.
And it's because of Burt Bacharach. That's all that was, and his production and all that. Like, I ain't trying to hear no San Jose bullshit. Like,
So, are you calling Dionne Warwick CL Smooth and without the Burt Bacharach beats?
yeah.
He ain't gonna let it go. He ain't gonna let it
He
go.
ain't letting it go.
Disagree with
No,
him.
I really want to know because he said it's all about Burt Bacharach. So that was the producer behind it. So it was just like, okay, so it only sounds good because she's with that producer.
She only made
Oh,
pop
you're
hits.
just saying you're saying she ain't even CL because she can't even sing. You're saying she can't sing.
Nah, I ain't saying that either. I just don't like her voice. Her voice don't
Okay.
do it for me at all.
Okay.
At all. I mean, you know, impact wise, she was like the first black pop star for real. Like she can't, her impact, you can't. It wouldn't if it wouldn't have been her. It wouldn't have been Aretha after her. It wouldn't have been Whitney. All them girls. But as far as vocals, hell no.
Okay. All right. Veg, I forgot you on the R&B side. Did you have another R&B person?
Did I? Yeah, I do. What I was so again with my disclaimers, right? We did the old folks. We're gonna do the young folks now. I try to pay attention to lists from people from different eras, right? Because we grow up in different eras. Everybody's list is different. But I'm gonna say The Weeknd.
Oh, amen.
I look. Don't get it twisted. The little pop run he on. I think I love the music. I think I love the vibe of it. But he gets like they be getting carried away with him. Like Timberland was like, "Yo, it's the new Michael Jackson and Thriller," and I'm like, "Are you crazy? Like what?"
That nigga still got baby teeth. That's why he talk like that.
Oh,
damn nerves.
Wow, that nigga said this nigga.
Like, and he irks me, yo. Like,
God damn.
Baby
Talk
teeth
that
gonna fall
shit,
out.
y'all. Talk that shit. That
I
nigga
don't.
said-
I'm not with him anyway. So y'all can have that
Said
shit.
he got baby teeth.
Yes, yo. Even Questlove
Is it-
even tried
let me
that
ask you
shit
a question.
too.
Does that affect your vocal ability? Are you just dissing a nigga? Or are you
Yeah, I am.
Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you got
I'm
baby
giving him
teeth,
all
you
the
can sing.
smoke.
Like I'm fucking.
Yeah, no. I ain't even worried about. No, I'm giving Timberland all the smoke. Yep.
I'm like shit. If you still got baby teeth, can you not sing good? Like, is that like the fucking?
Yo.
He like 80 years old with baby teeth. How that's gonna work?
I've never paid attention to this nigga's teeth before. Now I gotta go look
He
up.
smiling all his bitches. You don't see it? Yo got a 2-year-old mouth, dog. Like,
I'm gonna look him up right now.
right. Alright. He might have got him fixed.
I'm gonna put in The Weeknd's teeth.
No, not Weekend, Tim.
Oh,
Timberland.
Timberland.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said The Weeknd had fucking baby teeth.
Well, I don't even call him the Weekend because I like weekends. I call that nigga the weekday.
Oh,
Timberland teeth fucked up, bro. God damn. You ain't lying. He might have got him fixed.
y'all googling this nigga?
I've never heard nobody talk about.
Timberland.
I ain't never heard it. This nigga got dolphin teeth. I ain't gonna lie.
You got the dolphin teeth.
This nigga JR is in a zone tonight, man. This nigga called out James Brown. Now it's the teeth. Rel, who you got?
He should have worn a hoodie.
Right?
Y'all said Drake already, right?
Yeah, Veg did.
I did. Yeah.
Drake said Drake. All right, let me move on. All right, so hold on. Dang, that threw me off. I was gonna say Drake, and y'all said Lauryn when I got on, right? That was what y'all was talking about when I got on. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still touch on them because you may have them for different reasons.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with the two guys that are like really, like currently, like people put up there, but I just can't put them up there right now, and that's Kendrick and Cole. I can't put them in the top 10 yet.
Okay.
And for me, and,
I'm out,
and
Kill. I'm out.
this,
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, bro? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
I
last
think-
one standing,
I
bro.
think I might have to go.
Well, killer.
You can't
Okay.
say nothing, yo.
I'm not. You know.
Here's the thing, bro. I told you it's a rough crowd in here tonight, bro.
I'm cool. I'm cool with it.
I don't even want to ask questions on my own show no more.
Stop saying all time. Stop saying all time. Like the dudes that's on there, like have a level of longevity that those guys I'm talking about are still in the process of attaining. I'm not saying that they won't be in the top 10 when they done, but I wouldn't put them. I have trouble putting them over some of those people that been doing it for so long, like, you know what I'm saying, and still doing their thing. Now they can be there. It's possible. They're nice.
Bro, I'm not mad at you because neither one of them in my top 10. Kendrick is like knocking on the door, like that nigga's
he's
close. But to me, I've never gotten Cole. Like, I think Cole is dope, but I've just never. I think Fonte is a billion years better than Cole, and people talk about Cole before Fonte. So I've never gotten the Cole hype. Like, I think he's dope, but not at the level where people put him. So I'm not mad at that shit.
I like Cole a lot, but top 10, I just can't. Like, Kendrick is close. I remember I mentioned this in another show. Like he maybe was another classic away for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's close, but I just can't put him there yet for me. And for when I started listening to hip hop, and some of the guys that I might have on it, somebody younger than me would not have on there. So This is just from my perspective. I don't think they're not in my top 10 yet.
No,
just not to say that they won't potentially be.
I could definitely see Cole. I could see Cole. Cole is nice, super duper nice. But Kendrick, especially when you start talking about albums.
But hold tight. So Trey, Kendrick's in your top 10.
I think when we start talking about, because I think the whole show is about how Doc Rivers.
You're right. I gotta go back. The whole show's about when people say they're in the top 10, you don't understand it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. You're right. I've got screwed up.
All right. So that's a different. That's a different.
That's different.
I can understand someone saying Kendrick's in the top 10.
Right.
I misunderstood.
I tripped out too. That's my fault too.
Yeah. My fault. I misunderstood what the basis of.
No, bro. Because I was with you, and you didn't misunderstand because you got two other people. We've been saying the same people. So, the next person I got is 50 Cent. You know, I love 50, Get Rich or Die Trying, classic album, but to me after that it's been downhill. In my opinion, I feel right now, I only think people, if you see a 50 show, you want to hear the power theme probably more than anything right now at this point in time. So, what's up, Trey?
Who in the hell has 50 in their top 10?
I see it a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot. You know what I mean? A lot of people have 50 in their top 10. I mean, I think because Get Rich or Die Trying was such a big album. Like, to this day, I can't remember another album. I remember having to go to like 5 different record stores just to find it because every place was sold out. Like, and I think just for a while, 50 just owned everything for that moment in time. When I talk about, there was a point where Treach was the nicest MC walking the planet, or Puba. Like, there was a moment where 50 and G Unit just owned everything. You know what I mean? So, again, if you're young enough and you're coming up in that era, 50 probably, I mean, if you're 11, 12 years old where Get Rich or Die Trying drops, I can see somebody, I don't even know what that age would be now, but I can see them saying 50's in their top 10. I just don't see the shit.
From one album, that's crazy.
I mean, but here's the thing. Maybe people like The Massacre. Like I said, I tapped out after that, probably the second album. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, by the time we were getting the Candy Shop, I don't even remember if that was his song or Olivia's song. But by the time he started doing Ja Rule, I kind of was like, I'm kind of off this, off this boat. So I got 50. Beg, who you got next?
I got Smoke for the white people. I got Madonna. I think Madonna got songs I love, right?
Oh yeah, she got yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what's the difference between Madonna and Barry White? Like, don't she talk like that? Like, she kind of sounds how she talks.
This nigga just
Barry White.
This is what I mean by
like
you need to learn how to read the room. I've been doing shows for almost 50 years. He's in a zone tonight. So this is what I mean about reading the room.
Want me
you
to go put the hoodie on?
Congregation from time to time. You gotta read your congregation.
Oh shit! What's in that glass, Veg?
Yeah, Vegas in the zone tonight, man.
What's in that glass?
No. Well, the thing, because I don't think you was here when we said the Barry White thing. Barry White has a great speaking voice. That's how he sings. He just talks with his speaking voice. Mm-hmm. Madonna sounds exactly how she talks, but she's not really singing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's enough for the record, but am I putting her in the top 10 of singers, you know, across the board or whatever it may be? No. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
He's maybe a top 10 superstar, but you know, as a singer, nah. And even back in the days, like, you know, I got an older sister, and you know, I was a true young, you know, younger brother. You know, like take her shit and beat up the dolls and all types of shit. So when she would play like Madonna, that shit used to irritate the shit out of me because I used to be like, this shit sounds terrible. Like, what is Tina Marie can sing?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Tina Marie can sing. Madonna.
You know the funny thing
And I was
is,
a little
man,
guy, so
here's the funny thing. I never knew this until recently, but somebody was like, you know, Madonna did Love Don't Live Here Anymore by Rolls Royce. And I was like, what? She did? Yo, I listened to that. Yo, horrible. I'm talking 5 trash cans.
It has to be.
Across the
That don't
board.
even that can't. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, yo, how did I miss this? But it was off the Like a Virgin album with Material Girl and Like a Virgin.
Oh,
and
wow.
number 5 is Love Don't Live Here Anymore.
Really?
And yo, and I just was bugging. And I was like, yo, she sung that song, and it's 5 trash cans across the board. So totally agree with you. Madonna made songs and she stayed in her party lane. People gotta understand, in the age when Madonna was out, that was the club scene. That was that 80s downtown white people cocaine club scene right there. You know what I mean? And it wasn't about singing. It was about, yo, getting high and going and dancing and just dancing the night away. And like you said, babe, I love Madonna. I keep my best of Madonna on me, but it's not because she's a great singer. I was a kid.
Right.
She had Like a Virgin. Shorty was kind of sexy back in the day, so I fucked with her on that tip. But, I mean, as a singer, nah, man. Nah. And for everybody watching, please go listen to Love Don't. If you think we bugging, go listen to Love Don't Live Here Anymore. Because that's a song where you got to be able to sing that song.
right.
Like, you ain't got to be able to sing Like a Virgin or Material.
Yeah.
You got to know how to sing Love Don't Live Here No More. So anybody who thinks we're bugging, go check that out and you can see for yourself. Trey, who you got up next, good brother?
Okay, so this person I got, I waffle back and forth because, and just recently, I can actually see why this person would be considered in their top 10. But it took me a long time, and so I'm just going to throw them in this mix just to see how y'all feel about it. But I can see it. I'm not saying he's in my top 10, but I can finally see why. And that's Busta Rhymes.
He doesn't make my top 10, but I wouldn't be necessarily mad.
I finally see why he's not in my top 10, but I swear it took me for a year. And the reason why, it's not because he doesn't have, like, his stage presence is bananas, the voice is bananas, he can flow for days, you know, the bounce on the beats, he has that Jamaican thing with him that, you know, he can hit all of that. You know what I'm saying? He's very clear, he's commanding, he has hit records, he has longevity. But for me, the longest time, lyrically, he's never been like, oh, I gotta rewind that. He's always had the dynamic part of a song. He's always closed the show. But lyrically, I don't have to rewind a thing. And for me as an MC, that's like a number one thing for me. If you don't have rewindable material, for me, I can't put you in my top 10. You see what I'm saying? But now, because of the longevity, because of all of these other dynamics that he has, and actually the last album he put out,
I was gonna say that last album was a banger.
Was the most complete body of work, album-wise, that I've ever heard from Busta. And so that might have been the turning point for me, for him to say, if somebody puts him in the top 10 based on all these other variables, I'm not mad at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have Busta in mind, but I'm not mad at it just based off of I actually love the album that had what was the one he did with Dre that had Rick James on it. It had that dumbass single with Khalees. I Love My Bitch. That song was horrible, but the rest of that album to me was crazy dope. Like, that was a dope album. Like, Tip was on it. Marsha Ambrosius was on it. Tip was on. Yeah, I said Tip, but that was a dope album. To me, this was a solid joint. And for somebody to be in the game for however many years he's been in
that was
this joint, I was like, that shit with the MOP sample is crazy. That shit with that look over your shoulder, the way knots chopped. Oh my god! Like
that was the turning point for me.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be mad at somebody for Busta just because of the longevity. You're right, Trey. I don't think he has a lot of rewindable moments for me either, but the songs he makes are just so incredible. You know what I mean? Like, even when he was on some of that Swiss shit, and I hated that era of hip hop. Like, Tear the Roof Off was like a banger to me. Like, he just always had complete bodies, not complete bodies work, complete great songs. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not mad at nobody for Busta. JR, who you got up next? Who you gonna piss off this time?
Oh yeah, this one might piss y'all off. Smokey Robinson is not in my top 10.
I think that's the one. I think you have hit the nail on the head on pissing me off. The Barry and James Brown. Like, god damn, man, Smokey?
No.
Compared to all of the people that came out around his time, you gonna tell me he's top 10?
All right, let me explain something to you, JR. Let's start right here. Let me look at the camera. For everybody who may not know this nigga. JR, how old are you?
Here he go.
We gonna break some shit down because y'all gonna stop talking to me like I'm in special ed. JR, how old are you? How old are you, JR?
36.
36. Let me ask you another question. When did Smokey Robinson drop? When was his era? When is Smokey at his pinnacle? What year?
What you mean at his height, right?
At his height, yeah.
67, 68.
67, 68. I want to let you know that I was -8 years old. Okay. So again, we've been through my mother raised me in a jazz household.
Right.
So again, you're like, out of all the people I named, nigga, you acting like I was alive. Okay.
So how you gonna be mad if somebody else
because I think Smokey can actually sing. I'm not mad at
I never said he couldn't. But he's not in my top 10. You said top 10.
All right, so Vegas. Smokey can't sing? Am I bugging tonight?
Vegas, no.
Nigga, nobody like that moist ass singing ass.
Niggas
sing the record, nigga.
Listen, you ain't lying there. I give him a little tune, but I agree with you, Veg.
Did you just say moist ass?
His pin game was there.
Oh yeah.
No, Ebony Eyes with Rick with some
Rick James. Rick James.
But you didn't like Smokey's part on Ebony?
No, I did not.
That moist ass nigga on that record.
No, I'm good. No.
What did I tell y'all earlier? You gotta know your congregation when they was at the club all night, and you ain't getting no amens today. Like, it's just niggas are tired. They ain't getting.
I ain't even like them.
They trying to go to AM service. It ain't. I am today years old when I found out people don't like Smokey Robinson.
I ain't like him so.
Cruising is a moist wet song.
That's why D'Angelo had to redo it.
Oh,
it belongs to D'Angelo. It belongs to the sorry Smokey. It belongs to D'Angelo.
It absolutely. When I think about Cruising, I don't think about no Smokey.
I do appreciate the video with D. He had the Polo USA piece on in the video, but god damn. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. I don't even know who's next. Rel, I think you're next. I don't even know no more. He done talked about Timberland's teeth. We done got. Okay.
Skip me because I gotta think because all mine got taken.
I got some extra ones I could just throw out here. This is no disrespect. MF Doom. I know people who have MF Doom in their top 10. Is no disrespect. I'm not a big Doom fan. The funny thing is Naomi is actually making me become more of a Doom fan because she listens to a lot of Doom. And again,
Blood is funny as hell. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, and I love the fact that she listens to him because she found him on her own because it ain't through me. So I'm actually hearing more Doom now than I did before. I just don't think he's anywhere on a top 10 list. I don't know if we want to put him on the kind of like reinvented yourself top 10 list. Like you went from KMD to MF Doom, like you reinvented yourself. We did that show, but I just honestly don't see Doom cracking a top 10 list of anything but reinventing yourself and maybe having your own style. So I don't know, Vague, Trey, Rel, MF Doom, top 10.
No, he's not in my top 10. Much respect to Doom. No, Doom to me is one of the most like his delivery is mundane but colorful at the same time. Like he uses words and says certain stuff. I swear, there's never been a time I've heard a verse of Doom that I didn't start cracking up in the middle of the verse because of some shit he says. Like he has a distinct way of delivering a verse, man, and bars. It's incredible, and I see why people gravitate towards him. But top 10, nah.
Now here's the thing, and I don't know if this is true. Somebody told me this years ago that Doom, he would write rhymes, he would just write like words and verses, like bars down on sticky notes and put them up around the room, and then just randomly pull them down and put them in a verse. Made sense to me because that's what the shit sounds like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a part of the genius. That's crazy, man.
That could be true. I don't know, but that's who I got. MF Doom, Vague. Who you got next to tear down their legacy like JR with Smokey? But
Oh my God.
I'll say this. I'm gonna have a lot of enemies. Tupac Shakur.
I feel you.
And again, it's the MC in me. I love Tupac. I got a lot of his albums. You know, I still listen to him. It's not just having an album, but I listen to him to this day. Has nothing to do with him passing away, none of that shit. I bought him in real time. But I think a lot of times cats want to push a narrative. Like I did an episode on my podcast, Hip Hop Now podcast.
Where can I hear it?
Everywhere.
All right.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever. Or you can follow me on my Twitter handle, which is on the screen. But I did an episode on lyricists, and I started by defining the word first.
What did you say?
Well, I took it from
Paraphrase.
Yeah, I took it from the dictionary, and it was well, shit, that was a while ago, Trace. You gotta chill. I'm kind of I'm a little old, bro. I'm a little old, so it's like, damn, I don't remember the shit I recorded a month ago. But I mean, in general, it was sure it's about a person that writes lyrics, right? Because that's the argument of the guys who make the argument for Tupac as a lyricist. But we know in hip hop, when we say lyricist, we're talking about technical ability. Tupac was not a technical MC. He said a lot of shit you can agree with, you can go to war with, all kinds of shit. But that doesn't make him a technical lyricist, because when you think about the Tunnel, right, where it's him, Biggie's there. Biggie's dropping lines where you're like, oh shit. But Tupac got the energy, right? He's not saying nothing that make you think like, oh, he said blah, blah, blah. He just got you like, oh, my nigga's in the pen. Here we go again. You hyped with him. But there's nothing technical about what he said. He's just essentially, just saying things you agree with or vibe with. So I feel like a lot of times when Tupac makes people top 10s, it's not about him as far as like having lyrical ability as an MC. It's probably more so as an artist. It's probably more so as a songwriter, or just pop culture or whatever it may be. And it doesn't take anything away from Tupac and the music he's created, or even the songs where he did display a little bit of lyrical technique. But again, when I'm making my top 10, and that's a important piece to it, to me at least as an MC, he's just not getting in front of certain people, right? He's just not getting in front of a Big Daddy Kane where it took me years to fucking say that nigga name with the B.I.G. You know what I'm saying? Right, I can say it now. Back then I was like, that's impossible, right?
Right.
So,
it was many days spent fucking that up, man, trying to get it down straight.
Right. So again, Tupac fan, but at the end of the day, sometimes when I see him in the top 10, I'm interested to know what their criteria is.
Right. Nah, makes perfect sense. Trey, who you got?
Come back to me.
All right, JR. I'll throw one out there just to put it out there. I got Slick Rick.
That's a good.
Just not enough time. No,
That's a good.
Okay.
Just no
Okay,
disrespect to the ruler. Just not enough time. Like that one album
That's
was
a
great.
good.
And I'm a fan of the second album. I like the second album, but you know, I definitely think if Rick didn't get locked up, I think he would have eventually become a top 10 MC. But I see his name a lot, and I just don't think he had enough to crack that. But again, I think if he didn't get locked up and he would have, you know, been able to keep making music his way and everything like that, he would have been there. But I just don't see that for Rick. JR, what you got up next?
I'm gonna say for the new school, I'm gonna say Chris
Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard a Chris Brown album, so I can't even speak on that. So
That is controversial. I like
Yeah.
that.
It really is.
I like that. That is controversial as hell,
Mm-hmm.
but I like that.
now, Trey, is that controversial because people do think Chris is a good singer?
I think.
Oh
they
yeah,
think-
I'm
They think
bugging
he
because
got-
people. I forgot people be saying he better than Usher. So
people saying he's better than Michael.
Right.
Mm.
And they be
Forget
having
Usher.
him in front of Michael on their list, and I'll be like, huh?
That
But
is. I
does this
like
go
it.
back? Do we think this is about the showmanship again? Just because Chris can dance his ass off, and it's because here's the crazy fucking part.
It ain't just that. It ain't just that. It's,
What's up?
He got huge records, and he's been around for a while. It ain't just because he can dance. I mean, the boy is incredible. I'm not gonna say he's not incredible.
oh
But
yeah,
I like where you going with it, JR. Though.
I knew he was almost unfuckwittable when he whooped Rihanna's ass, and women still fuck with him. You know, it was that says a lot right there. Like that's usually
that's real though.
And it was Riri. Like this ain't no random chick this ain't Shanitra from down the block, nigga. This is Rihanna, and you still got his back. Like y'all really fuck with this nigga.
Right.
Yeah, that's yeah. I could see that because he does get mentioned a lot. Obviously, he does not feel that way as far as people putting him ahead of Michael Jackson. First of all, so y'all know Michael Jackson is my Lord and Savior. Don't you ever say a motherfucking thing about Michael Jackson. I'm looking for you. Okay.
Oh god.
Now, because some of y'all think I'm just a hip hop nigga. Y'all don't know.
Yes.
Y'all don't really know. You say some shit about Michael, I'm like, hold on, man, hold on. Right. But like Trey said, and everybody agreed, Chris Brown is dope, man. He's kind of one of the people who keep R&B alive. Like when I hear new songs from him, I'm like, man, that's the R&B we supposed to keep hearing. But when you start putting him in the top 10, it's like, okay, it's kind of like when they say in basketball, right? Steph playing in the 90s with the bird chest. I don't know. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like that. Like, are we looking at Chris Brown the same way if he got to be next to Prince and Michael?
Ooh, good point.
It's almost like they get lost. Like I said, there were so many hip hop groups from the 90s that just got lost because it was so much hip hop. Trends of Culture, like Off and On was a huge song. You know what I mean? Blase Blah with Danger. Like there was so many groups, the Boogie Monsters. Like
Listen, the 90s, the 90s
was crazy.
You had to be. I tell people this all the time. Everybody was nice. If you got signed, you were nice. Now, how the records turned out because of the cookie cutter industry and how you had to have a certain type of record, that's something different. But skill set, you had to be nice. Period.
I mean, I always say this, and folk may disagree. I think if Little Brother was back in '93, I don't know if Little Brother is Little Brother, because it's like you still got Tribe, you still got Black Moon, you still got Wu-Tang, you still got, And again, that's no knock on Little Brother. I feel like they came out at a time when it was just nothing. Like the lane was wide open. Backpackers was like, we were confused, like what's going on, and like here they come. Because I know a lot of people who look at them as like their Tribe Called Quest. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, I feel that, but I'm just like, yo, I had my Tribe Called Quest. You know, and that's no knock on them. Like I remember, I loved New Edition when they came out in '84. My mom was like, nigga, that's just the Jackson 5. So for my mom, it was like, they're cool, but I already got my Jackson 5. I don't need the next Jackson 5. And it's like, well, shit, I didn't have the Jackson 5. So New Edition to me is our generation's Jackson 5, which is why people our age still go to Essence and go to wherever they performing to see them perform, because that was ours. But like you said, Trey, the one to get signed, you had to be nice, but then it just came down to, like you said, how the industry pushed you and stuff like that, because, you know, for the most part, then we started to get to the cookie cutter shit, like when it was like the Flatliners, you know, it was like, you know, you had the Grave Diggers, then you had the Flatliners, and then you had Onyx, and then you had the Hood Rats, you know, before those days. But the beginning, like you said, if you got a record deal, you were nice, like you just were, you know. But yeah, all right, Chris Brown, I feel that. Bro, who you got up next, man?
Man, I hate the man. Rest in peace to this brother, but I'm gonna say Pun.
I got put on my list too.
That's a good one.
I got put on my list too.
Listen, and it's not none of you know what happened. It's unfortunate, so that derailed what could have been, you know, a long illustrious career, but it just wasn't enough for me.
That's a good one.
Capital Punishment, you know, was fire, and then, you know, the second one was, and then you get the album after he passed, but you don't have the material. The skill was there, you know what I'm saying, and you know, some impact is there, but it's not Biggie impact. You know,
right.
Biggie 2 albums, but still impactful. Like now, you know what I'm saying? Like Biggie's a different, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't on that level. So I don't think, you know what I'm saying, I've seen him in some people's top 10, but I just don't think he should be in the top 10. He's not in my top 10. And I'm a fan of his, but it just didn't get enough, man.
I agree. I mean, I think it's kind of like when we did the show a while back, the Wrestling Belt show, when you had the World Championship, the Intercontinental title, and the TV title. Like, you know, when you put, if you want to say Pun's dopest Puerto Rican rapper ever, bam, you got it. You know what I mean? But I think when it comes to the bigger picture, it's just like great MC. I just don't see it. The next person I got up is Black Thought. Y'all already fucking know why. If you watch one episode of this shit, you already know that I just... First of all, nobody had Black Thought in their top 10 until that Funk Flex freestyle. And if that's all it takes to get a nigga to be in your top 10, well, goddamn it. Y'all have just opened the floodgates, because that's not even my favorite Hot 97 freestyle. You know what I mean? So, again, I got Thought. And another person I got is Jay Electronica. And this was before the album even dropped. People was talking to Jay Electronica as a top 10 MC.
Ooh, that's what?
Before he even had an album. I remember being on Twitter like, y'all do know Exhibit C was in 2009, right? Like, yo, like December 2009. I remember when that shit dropped. And y'all is still like, this dude, yo, people, I've seen numerous people put Jay Elect in their top 10 without an album. And I was like, yo, again, tell me you don't have a criteria for a top 10 MC without telling me you don't have a criteria. Like, you just put niggas in off of a song. Like, I love Exhibit C. I love Exhibit A. But top 10? So, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, it's bad out here in these streets, y'all. Veg, you got anybody left?
Yeah, I got 3 I could go to. And again, you know, this is me like looking at different lists, you know, from people from other ages, and maybe 2 of them are never in people's top 10s, but as much as I see people talk about them, you know, I just don't see it. On the hip hop side is Jules Santana. I thought Juice Santana from day one.
Give me a real timeout, 20-second timeout. Niggas got Jules Santana.
I've seen Nick when he was out, like in the beginning, the Dipset days. Oh my God! Like,
listen, and enough respect to Juelz, because he gave me a shout out on the Vlad joint, because one of his first records, it was myself, him, and Memphis Bleak on there. So shout out to him. But I've never heard anybody put Juelz in their top 10. And
I've never even seen somebody put Juelz above Cam, and I've never seen Cam in somebody's top 10.
Right. Well, I've
seen
talking
Cam
about like the strictly hip hop days when I would come back, you know,
right.
around the era, Dipset era. And you know, I'm saying what I say, right? Like, oh, this nigga whack. And all the kids is like, what? And I'm like, this nigga just saying like every 5 minutes, this nigga's garbage. Right? But and again, it's not like I don't like Dipset anthem or records he's had that are dope. Right. But they were putting him in the same lane or the same breath as Lil Wayne and Fabulous. And I'm like, the niggas are better than him. Like way better. You know what I'm saying? So that was the that was the thing I was looking at, like, oh, well, maybe that's that era. You know, maybe they see him like that. Another person, for you old heads, maybe I'm just hating. Maybe he ain't in nobody's top 10. But every time I hear this nigga sing, I'm like, y'all like this motherfucker? Shout out to Yentz, because he knows. Aaron Neville, man. Come on, y'all like this nigga? Y'all really gonna convince me that the yodeling ass nigga is good? Look, for a long time I wouldn't say shit around older people because they would be like, every performing. And I'm like, the nigga yodeling, like what the yo. I should have worn a hoodie, huh?
I need a full.
Right. Look, chill.
Hey, chill.
Don't say my name, nigga. Don't say my name.
Shout out to New Orleans.
Talk to Trey. Don't even say
shout
my
out
name.
to New Orleans. But the nigga Yentz who does hip hop Twitter podcast with me. He heard me say that one time, and I went to New Orleans for a conference, right?
Yo, nigga, I literally have tears in my eyes, my nigga. What are you talking about?
Because you know I'm right, nigga. You know I'm right. You know,
no, I'm not mad, but I'm just like, God. Yo.
Right.
Yo, I literally got tears in my eyes.
I did not expect you to say Aaron Neville.
Me neither. I'm like, you said Aaron. I'm like, Hall? Like, Aaron Hall is a beast. What are you doing?
Where did that even come from?
Yeah, I don't even know where did that name come from. Where did you find that?
I gave you the disclaimer before I even started, nigga. I got smoked for old folks.
I haven't even thought about that name in ever. Like, I don't like, where in your mental Rolodex? Like, what Eddie saying, Boomerang? Get that out your mental Rolodex.
I do work at
where did you even get that from?
I work at a jazz radio station, bro. Everybody old, fam. Everybody old. But the thing is, for the life of me, I couldn't understand, right? When they be like, ooh, Aaron Neville singing. I'm like,
Who said ooh, Aaron Neville singing?
Who you say that says? Who said Aaron Neville?
Are you serious?
Aaron Neville singing.
Older folk, nigga, you telling me you don't know? Why do
Yo, I've never heard a human being in my life bring up Aaron Neville. Ever. Like, right there, ever. I've never heard a human
I'll send
being.
you some material so you can see the older
Like,
folks.
you know what? This is wrong. Why are you hanging out with Danny Terrier? Why are you around old people?
Look,
who
look.
even know
No.
Aaron Neville is, bro?
It's like you said, right? Aaron Neville is not from my generation. I'm not
I don't
listening
even know
to
what generation he's from. I honestly don't know. What generation? Is this our parents? Is this our great-grandparents?
No.
Hey, you the best, yo.
Yeah,
Right,
bro.
right.
Whatever you drink and put that up on the screen
Right.
and shout that out.
Right. But look. Let me say this though. I mean, just because you're not educated on Aaron Neville don't mean anything. But my is, I'm saying I've seen people from a certain generation talk about
What
this.
generation?
He in the 60s.
Yeah, are you
He is.
serious?
He ain't gonna.
Are you
I'm a hold on, bag.
I said Aaron Neville. You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Stop
like,
trying to
Yeah, but
play
it's
like
the
you
dude.
don't
It's
know
the
who
dude.
he's
He looked
talking
like
I
he
know
looked like
who
a
he is.
Apache Chief off of Justice League, off of fucking.
Okay, now you add it. Now you add.
No, I'm
Right,
just
right,
dead ass.
right,
That's who
right.
I think about when he said Aaron Neville. I thought of Apache Chief, the nigga
Okay.
during Super Friends. People out there, go put on YouTube, go to fucking
Right.
Super Friends, put in Apache Chief, and then put in Aaron Neville, and the fucking two gonna look the same.
Right. But
Oh my
if you
god.
think I was talking about Apache Chief or Aaron Neville, the niggas known. Stop playing, man. The niggas known. Okay. Everybody knew who I was talking about, but the
No,
thing
we
is,
do.
that I had
He's one of
smoke
those
with the
people
old
who we
folks,
all
too.
know, but we don't know why we know him. I don't know why I know him because I don't know one song.
Nigga, that's why he's on my list.
No, I honestly, JR, if you had $1 million in front of me and said name an Aaron Neville album, I would pray to God that he has a.
Oh no,
debut
well, I ain't
album
doing that. You
after him.
reaching. You
I would
reaching.
say
'Cause I
Aaron
ain't say-
Neville.
You reaching, because I ain't say album, I said song. Because I don't know what
can't.
name album.
I would be
Aaron
like,
Neville.
prayerfully, he has a song called Aaron Neville or a song called.
Okay, next.
One of the two.
Yeah,
I
see,
have nothing. I got
This-
nothing.
This
on
nigga
Aaron.
killed being a true Aries, right? This
Look,
nigga
I mean, I have-
he added on to my
Right,
song.
he throwing, Kill do that. He
Talk
throw
about me.
daggers, yo, and act like he don't know.
Bro, I'm sorry. Can anybody else say name an Aaron Neville song besides Vegas? Besides Vegas.
I can't name no damn Aaron Neville song. That's why he's on this fucking list. Like,
Tell it like it is.
but Yinz can, because well, let me tell my Yinz story real quick. So when I went to New Orleans for the fucking conference, Yinz knows I don't understand why this nigga is even known, Aaron Neville. I don't understand it. Right? I saw a film about the Jazz Fest in New Orleans. It's popular, and he sung the national anthem, and I was sitting in the theater like why? Like, when did he ever be? Like, what did I miss something?
Right.
Like, did the nigga do
Like, how
something
you
else
see the
that I
national
missed?
anthem, my nigga?
Right, like, did he miss something? But the nigga Yinz, right, was like, oh, because you know, it's Southern hospitality. He like, I brought you a gift, and I could tell it was a book, right? I was like, oh good looking out. So he like, but don't open it until you get home. So I'm like, well, nigga, ain't no pictures of you in this motherfucker. Like, you know, I'm like, you know, wondering, like,
word life. I got a headache,
Right.
man. I got a
Right.
headache
Oh.
now, bro.
right. But, you know, I
I've been
got
podcasting for like 8 years. They ain't never left the show with a headache and tears in my eyes.
right. But look. Long story short, right? So I say, all right, I'm not gonna open it till I get home. I get home, right? He bought me the Star Wars book or whatever that, you know, I might read or whatever. Sometimes I read, sometimes I don't. I open the book. This nigga got a picture of Aaron Neville that he fucking printed out and signed and put my biggest fan Vegas on the motherfucker.
Wow.
And I was like, this nigga got jokes.
Oh my god.
So, if you want to know why people like him, you need to talk to Yinz because he's from there and shit.
Yeah.
All right, boom.
I don't know. Well, hold tight for a minute, babe. You can't just skate over that. I don't know. The funniest thing was that I thought you were going to say Aaron Hall. So you just took it somewhere totally else.
I thought he was too.
Yeah,
Because my
Yeah.
brain is like, Aaron can sing, but I wasn't ready for Aaron Neville. You know why? He always kind of scared me because of this birthmark shit on his face. That was always scary to me.
You see?
I'm just being honest with you.
See?
You got a song with Linda Ronstadt?
Yeah, Yo, you ain't shit. I'm begging, yo. Y'all are both.
I can't, yo, I got a headache, bro.
Yo, I've not heard the name Linda Ronstadt since 1980. Linda Ronstadt.
Don't do that, yo.
Yo, when you got a song with Linda Ronstadt, yo,
Yeah.
this is yo. You really telling me this nigga don't scare you? If you saw this nigga on a back alley in LA, you ain't gonna be shook, nigga. I saw Training Day, nigga. Don't play with me. I'm sorry, babe. Who's your last person, man?
All right, so my last person is somebody. I think we see this on Twitter a lot when it comes to lists, and it boggles our minds. But Future, like they done call Future the greatest rapper alive, and I just
I've
don't.
never seen that, and I'm glad I haven't. Niggas be calling Future the
He
greatest
was on the
rapper.
cover. What was it? GQ or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Recently, but that's not the first time I've seen that, and I'm like, what am I missing about Future that they would start crowning him? I mean, I've seen, he's like the new generation's Jay-Z, and it's like,
You know what, Meg? I think we could just stop the show because I don't even really think I could go on anymore after the Aaron Neville shit. Like, I really got nothing left. Like, yo, my nose is running, my fucking eyes are watering, I got a fucking headache. Like, I honestly got nothing. I got nothing left after that, babe. Yo,
That was
this
hilarious.
nigga really just shut down the whole show. Like, I have a headache.
Yeah, you did that one, babe. You did.
I had a headache.
You shut
Aaron,
How the fuck am I gonna
Neville.
listen to Nas in an hour and 15 minutes with a headache, man? I gotta
listen to Aaron Neville, hear that yodeling, the greatest yodeling you ever heard.
I got an hour and 15 minutes
expected to hear today.
to get rid of this headache. All right, so Future. So people, I had no idea. I had no idea people really loved him like that. You know what I mean? I knew he was
Yeah.
popular, but I just didn't know he was.
Yeah, they do.
oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I think it's this. I think he gets the same kind of influence thing that Lil
I
Wayne
was gonna
gets.
say, do you think it's because of the club? Because I was watching this interview with Shorty from Griselda, Armani Caesar, and her and this guy were going back and forth on like who has the bigger club songs, Future or I think Drake or something like that. And she was just like, yo, Future, just that club scene is just, he owns that shit. Like, do you
But
think
you
that
know-
could be a reason why?
You know where it comes from, right? Again, he's a descendant of Kanye, in particular, the 808 and Heartbreaks album. That
Okay.
808 and Heartbreaks album ushered in all of that shit.
Now is Future
Yeah.
down with the Dungeon Family, or is that one of them other down south rappers? One of them is like Rico Wade's nephew. Like he was down. He's like Dungeon Family. Like no, you know what? That's who's Titty Boy?
That's Titty Boy. That's
2
Chainz.
Two Chainz. Yeah, I think 2 Chainz is that's what it was. All right, but Future is Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
But he's a descendant of that 808 and Heartbreaks album, and that ushered in all of that sound that you get from that shit.
Trey, do you have anybody else left? That's not named Aaron Neville.
Byron Neville. Now that.
His twin brother Byron. His twin brother Byron.
Right.
Like you got Aaron Hall and Damian Hall. So like yeah.
Byron Neville. Oh,
I think this person is an incredible MC, and I think with more bodies of work, maybe, but I just can't see it. But I see people that put him in the top 10, and that's Mos Def.
I've got his name. I've got about 6 people left, but Mos is one of those names.
I mean, incredible MC, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. But is he top 10? Nah, just not enough, man. Just not enough.
Yeah, I feel you. I never forget when Big died, I actually thought Mos was up next. Because after the Black Star album, I was like, yo, Mos got everything. He's got the lyrics, he's got the charisma, he's got the flow, he's got the voice, he's got the personality. Like this nigga, embodies everything. But to me, he's such an artist. Like Most is like one of them people who want to do a rock album, who want to do this, who want to, not rhyme for 5 years. And, I think if Most would have kept putting out consistent hip hop albums, I think he may have been able to crack the top 10. But he reminds me of such a 3000. They're just artists. They're just like, I'm gonna do what wants to come to mind. I want to play guitar on this album, even though I don't know how to play guitar, but I'm gonna play it anyway. So. Yep. Oh God. JR, you got anybody else left on your list?
I think I'm done. I'm done. I done fucked up the thing, so I'm done.
Bro, what about you, man? All right. The only other people I had left, it was a couple of names. I'm seeing Ghostface on some people's top 10 list. Again, I love Ghost. He's one of probably my favorite Wu-Tang member. But I just
Rel about to get up. He looked disgusted with that.
Yeah, he does. He looks totally disgusted.
No. The Aaron Neville shit fucked me up. I agree with you on Ghost, but I've seen him.
Yeah, actually, and I love Ghost. He's my favorite out the Wu. I just don't see top 10. Lauryn Hill, we talked about her, Most Def. Snoop, I've seen Snoop on people's top 10s. And I don't see Snoop. I've seen
that's tough. That's tough.
You think Snoop top 10, Trey?
I can see how people can put him in their top 10.
I can't even see that because the nigga to me got one classic album. Now keep in mind, I haven't kept my ear to the streets with. There's been so many reincarnations of Snoop, I can't keep up. There was Snoop.
That's real.
Reggae Snoop. There was gospel Snoop. There was Snoop with fucking Martha Stewart cooking shit.
Snoop lying.
I haven't kept up with all the incarnations of him. But Veg, I do know you said one of those Blue Carpet albums was dope. So
it is, yeah.
He got a couple of
came out with 2006. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he got a couple of joints in between where you like, oh, that's old Snoop on that joint. Like
that could put him in the top 10 though.
I think so because it's the same flavor as the joint that puts him. Well, why people probably put him in there, which is dopest style. Because Blue Carpet Treatment, it's not all Dre. But it really gives you that, doggy style vibe, and Snoop is in that same pocket that you remember. So
now tell me this, because the educator in me always has to do things like a math equation. So if this nigga has 14 albums and 3 of those are dope, I can guarantee you that nigga's failing that class. If you take 14 tests and you only pass 3, nigga, you are repeating that fucking class. So
I can't take 3, only 3 though.
Well, right. But I mean, does the percentage, whatever the percentage is.
Probably split like more than anything.
What if he passed
like 50-50?
With a 65? What if he passed with 65? That's still passing.
Really, nigga, I went to summer school for 55. I was at King all goddamn summer for 65. That shit ain't bad. Maybe in your generation of Philly, not for mine, nigga. Anything under a 69 was failing in Philly. I went to summer school at King for that shit.
I ain't never go to summer. They told me if you gotta go to summer school, you in trouble. You short. So I made sure I had to go.
It's how crazy it was. Me and my mom lied to my pop all summer because she knew that nigga would have killed me. So it was like, I can't come over. Oh, he got some other shit to do. So
let me ask this question. Could you see Snoop in a top 10 before you could see Pac in the top 10?
Ooh, good question.
That's a really good question.
I see Snoop in the top 10 before Pac. No, I can't. Because I think Pac made better albums than Snoop. I don't, again, like Vegas said, I don't know the percentage, so I can't really say. I know Snoop has had a lot of albums out that have been really bad. Like, I know The Dogfather was really bad. It's the different incarnations. He was on No Limit for a while. So again, I can't say, I'm talking out of ignorance because I haven't heard all these albums, number one. Let me just keep it a buck there. So I'm just going off of what other people have said. So other people have said his albums are trash. Vegas and other people have said these albums are actually really dope. So I don't know what that scale kind of pans out to. But if your discography is 50% trash and 50% dope, I don't know if you can crack the top 10 because the people who are in the top 10, probably 80% of their albums are all dope. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's too many people in our top 10 that we could say got 6 albums that are trash.
Can everybody answer that? Because I want to hear what everybody got to say about that.
I'm saying Pac above Snoop. Veg, what do you got?
I think I would have to go with Pac above Snoop. I mean, everybody don't have 14 albums also. So we can't really say that, but I think with Pac again, I think they kind of do the same thing in a lot of ways, right? Snoop's, you just like Doggy Style. Snoop's not killing you with no crazy bars or nothing like that, but the shit just sound dope. You know what I'm saying? And I think Pac has done that more consistently, right? You know, Me Against the World, in some ways, has become a slept-on album. It's fucking.
That's my favorite Pac album. Yeah, that's my favorite Pac album.
It's tight all around.
Now, question, Vegas: has Pac made any trash albums though?
Most people might say if you had to pick his worst album, maybe it's Tupacalypse. And I don't know if that means it's the worst or it's just not as good as the others.
Right.
But I don't think he's had.
I've never heard anybody ever say Pac has a trash album. You know, whereas I've heard Snoop has some trash albums, plural. Like,
right.
So that
but he also was killed at 25. So Big could have had trash albums, you know. So
I think Snoop is the.
Hold on for 1 second, because I want to look at it like this too. I just forgot what I was gonna say. This is still Aaron Neville playing in my fucking head. Thanks, man. Go ahead, Trey.
Nigga, hear that yodeling in the background.
Yo, Howard joke from 20 minutes ago is still fucking me up. I'm sorry.
It's the singing, man. We can all hear that shit.
I think Snoop is the better MC.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think Snoop is the better MC, and based on longevity, and I think Snoop has more smashes. So if we doing that and longevity, and probably out of all of the catalog, the Doggy Style album is probably better than every album Pac has done. I got Snoop over
Pac. Now that's some controversy right there.
Ooh. I don't think so. I think that's kind of clear for me. I think Doggy Style is better than every Pac album.
Oh, keep in mind, I'm not saying for me. Y'all know I ain't a big Pac fan.
Oh yeah. Y'all know I agree with that.
I'm saying in general.
Okay. Yeah.
Controversial to say that Doggy Style is better than any Pac album.
Because I
think
half of that double album that Pac got it's some bad songs on that album. It's some good songs.
The World joint. That's
Me Against the World's my favorite. That's no. All Eyes on Me is the double.
All Eyes on Me.
And Veg, we talked about this before with Q. When an MC has a long discography, do you think we as fans should stop somewhere? Because it's almost like if you keep rapping, you end up fucking yourself up. You end up fucking up your legacy because it's almost like an NBA player playing past their years. Like when fucking Hakeem Olajuwon was in Toronto. You know what I mean? Or Patrick Ewing was in Seattle.
Can we really say that though?
What's that?
You saying stop because look at Nas now.
Yeah. No, but what I'm just saying is if we look at Cube's discography, if we keep going, it almost fucks him up. So should we stop it? Should we stop and say we're just looking at Cube from America's Most Wanted to The Predator? Because if we keep it going and we keep judging him off of the music he keeps making, then does that push him out the top 10? Because that would almost have to be fair. Like if it's like Kendrick is almost in the top 10 because his music is pushing him this way, is Cube's music pushing him out of your top 10? Or do we kind of look at it and we give a cutoff and say your 5 albums are your 5 albums? Or is that fair?
I look at push
Cube out. If Cube keeps making, KRS got like 20 albums out. And if we start listening to all 20 of them fucking albums, he is out of our top 10.
I look at your pinnacle, I look at your pinnacle. I look at your peak.
Okay.
And that's just how I base it. You know what I'm saying? What were you at your peak? And how long was your run at your peak? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's how I judge it. Because again, if you stop exercising that muscle after a while, you get into other things, movies and all this other stuff, and you're not really owning the craft like you used to. And you decide to make an album because you just want to make an album. You know, you say, okay, cool, whatever. But
that's your fault.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. All I'm saying is, if all things being equal, if I put this is how I put my top 10. Now there are a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, are still nice, still exercising that muscle and all this other stuff. But if I'm giving my top 10, then I'm looking at pinnacle performance and how long was that run at your pinnacle and what impact did you make at your pinnacle. You know what I'm saying?
All right. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I don't think you need to stop because again, you know, what happened is what happened. I look at it like if you look now, right? People pretend as if Michael Jordan only played 6 seasons in the NBA and he won a chip in every one. Right. That's not true. He lost. He was swept in a Bulls jersey. Played with the Wizards. It counts, but it doesn't take away from what he did. You know what I'm saying? He's undefeated in the finals. Like, you can't wash that away. So I feel like with someone like an Ice Cube, you know, even if you're going, you know, to the Predator and maybe even a little bit the album after that, the Lethal Injection, a little bit where it was still kind of good, but not what it used to be. I think he did enough in that time frame to make you say, yo, he belongs in the Hall of Fame off of this. Whatever he does after that is gravy. Because, like, I look at somebody like LL, right? Sure, people can remember how it ended, but this nigga was relevant in eras he shouldn't have been relevant in. Right?
Real.
It's alongside a game that started making money off of party music. LL was right there with him.
LL was dope from '84 when I was 10 to fucking when I was at Morgan. So I mean, it's a long ass time. So I guess you're right. Like, we almost have to freeze it because this is a great conversation because I'm always like, discography plays a part in who makes my top 10. You know what I mean? And what's happened is, like, I'll give you a great example. Common used to be in my top 10. That nigga's discography has pushed his ass out of my top 10 because the last 3 albums he made have been whack to me. You know what I mean? But maybe I do need to rethink it. And like you said, you're almost like freezing it at his pinnacle and saying, okay, if we're going from Resurrection, One Day, like Water for Chocolate, we all excuse that I'm about to say Mama's Gonna
the Badu era.
And then we go with
Daddy.
That nigga's got a nice 4-album run there for the pinnacle. You know, so maybe it's not right that I'm pushing this nigga out my top 10 because of this music he's making now. Another person I got, Jadakiss. I've seen Jada after the Madison Square Garden. You know, after that night, I was seeing Jada and people's greatest MC of all time. I'm like, God damn, after that Madison Square Garden thing, bro,
he was out of here.
Yo, Fat Joe was I can't even remember what does Fat Joe say at the beginning of the Pusha song?
Well, yesterday's prices.
Yeah, yesterday's prices, not today's price. Like, Kiss went from, you could look at what niggas was saying about Kiss that night. And the funniest thing about it was I was literally staying at the hotel across the street from the Garden the night of it. And it like the watching the shit in my hotel room, and before Kiss, niggas was like, yo, he's cool. After that shit, he's the greatest rapper of all time. He literally. But to me, it's the same thing that happened with Black Thought. People Thought went from being the most slept on MC in America to after that Funk Flex, he's the greatest rapper of all time. It's this new generation. If you do something really amazing, that will catapult you quicker than anything. What's up, Veg?
You know what? You're right though, because I was at this conference called the NomCom, which is like non-commercial radio or whatever, and it was in Philly. This cat wasn't from Philly, but you know, he was probably younger than me, but not that young. And he knew I was into hip hop, right? So I hate when people do shit like this. Maybe I'm grumpy, but he like, best freestyle, you know, on Funk Master Flex. And I'm like, nigga, we trying to eat and shit. Right. Right. Like, why you, and then the white people like, what is he gonna say? I'm like, yo. So I was like, I already knew I knew where he was going with it. I knew it. That's why he asked. And I was like, I know you want me to say Black Thought. I've been listening to Black Thought for a while. Us Black Thought fans are used to that shit, right? Like, we know he can do that. But I gave him some names and shit, but you're right. It with Kiss, it was like people forgot shit. They forgot about the locks, right?
Yeah.
Niggas was texting me as if I bet on, because I was like, well, Dipset got the crowd records, right? They just had the party records.
I had Dipset. I had Dipset winning.
Right. My neighbor texted me. Chick
Well,
was
keep in mind,
like,
I didn't know that we could do. I didn't know they could do mixtape shit. So keep in mind, I'm still in the mind of the old verses. When you're sitting in a room, not that you're in the crowd. I'm not thinking that this nigga's gonna be able to do freestyle fucking Green Lantern shit and get away with that shit. I'm thinking you gotta do songs that are songs, not mixtapes. I didn't know that.
I knew it was them because of the live performance aspect. That's because they had to get on stage. I was like, oh, they're gonna whitewash these guys.
Yeah, and see, again, I'm still thinking. I'm thinking old verses. You're just sitting in a room like Fab and Kiss did. That's what I'm thinking. And you got to do songs. I'm like, well, Dipset's gonna win that. But if you say live performance and you can do mixtape shit, well, then yeah, the Locks are gonna kill it.
Yeah, I knew the live performance Locks had it.
I knew the Locks was gonna get it because of the continuity. Like the Dipset, they don't even hang around each other like that no more.
Right.
I mean, and again, we saw in a live show, them niggas put on a show. That's that bad boy training. That's that making of the band training. That's that I know stage presence. I know how to I know what to do type thing. But again, it's just the fact that you talk about Kiss. Take the pulse of what Twitter and social media was saying about Kiss prior to that battle, and take the pulse of it the next day, and it's totally different. It's totally, like I said, same thing with Thought. He went from being so slept on to literally being the GOAT. And like you said, people are hitting me up and blowing me up, and I'm like, that ain't shit. Like, I've heard better shit than that from Thought, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? But people saw that, and that's what it was. Here's the thing, Trey, and I'm gonna lean to you on these two. I've seen people talk about Melly Mel in their top 10. I can't speak on that because I don't feel like I'm old enough, you know what I mean, to talk about that shit. I've seen Kool Mo D. We've had conversations about that when Kool Mo D's report card was out, but I don't see that. And the last person, DMX.
That was what I was saying.
And I would lean to y'all on that because I'm the least of DMX fans in the world. So I would lean to the panel on what y'all would say about DMX.
DMX falls in that Tupac category, where from an emotional standpoint, he is there is like him and Pac, they're in a class by themselves because they're the only people, especially DMX, and I saw him live several times. He's the only person that I've ever seen in front of 20,000 people that didn't need a hype man, that didn't need a DJ, that didn't need a band, and would move that shit like nobody. I've never seen nobody get up there by themselves with a microphone in front of that many people and move that shit in unison. He was incredible in that manner. So when people start talking about him being in the top 10, it's because of the emotional aspect, and that's the reason why Pac is in a lot of people's top 10. As far as Melly Mel and Kool Mo D, they're kind of the originators of lyricism. Like before them, there was that. There wasn't that. And they ushered in this whole idea of lyricism, being lyrical. You know what I'm saying? Saying some shit on the mic as opposed to throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. That type of MC. They ushered in the lyrical MC as opposed to the party rocker, crowd mover MC. So that's the reason why Mel and Kool Mo D from a specific generation, they will always be in people's top 10.
Right. Always. So you're not mad at that from a certain generation?
Nah, not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
No doubt. And again, like I said before on the last show, the Kool Mo D that I grew up with was the Wild Wild West, How You Like Me Now Mo D.
Yeah,
like
it was.
You know what I mean?
It was shit before that.
Right. And again, I know the whole battle at Harlem World, you know, with Busy B, like, you know. So again, to me, when you're talking about MCs like Mo D, you're talking about like the time span of it. Because if you're talking about Treacherous 3, Mo D going solo, that's a whole different Mo D than the How You Like Me Now, Wild Wild West, Kool Mo D. So totally get that. Before we get out of here and we give shouts to everybody and what they're doing, I got it definitely, and I should have started the show off with this, but I was so hyped at this Glenn Rivers, I didn't even think about it. R.I.P. Tame One. R.I.P. Hurricane G. Totally mind blowing that we lost both of them the same day. Tame to me was just, you know, Jersey legend. Like I posted this, like there was no way I could have the studio and not have the artifacts, you know, train here. Wrong side of the tracks. Come on with the Come On, and the Art of Facts, their first single from their second album. Just all incredible songs. And then Hurricane G. I mean, the whole Redman skit, the whole, you know, get off that punk smooth shit. And I mean, one of my favorite songs that she never released. And I can't find it everywhere. Just has this hissy tape. She had this song called Milky, where Eric Sermon gave her the same beat that EPMD used on Can't Hear Nothing But the Music. And she was on that. I think the only copy of that must have been off of Stretch and Bobbito, because wherever you find it's a hissy, like you could tell was on a tape or whatever like that. She was on the Smith and Wesson or the Cocoa Brothers joint. I forgot the Spanish Harlem. It was Tony Touch, Hurricane G, and Smith and Wesson. So definitely rest in peace to both of them, man. Just crazy to see that happening on the same day. Veg, you talked about all your podcasts, man. Give them everything so you can make other people laugh and give them headaches like you did to us tonight.
Well, I have a podcast called Hip Hop Twitter. It's hosted by Yentz, who, from what I understand, is an Aaron Neville fan. I don't know what you could be that, but whatever. But the podcast is all about, I'm not telling them to watch this shit though. The podcast is all about hip hop takes on Twitter that I never see. Not that I'm not on Twitter, but a lot of times I miss things and I react in real time, and you know, we cuss and we tell jokes, but also, you know, we give our perspectives on those thoughts from other people on Twitter. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and also on YouTube. But you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you just want to get straight to the links. Oh, and one last thing, because I don't always say this, and I think a lot of times we need to, especially somebody like me who ain't rapping every day like I used to, we need to talk about the material we do have out. Me and Kill did an album dedicated to my cousin Ill Will. Yes, that Ill Will, Nas. Me talking about him from a family perspective. Kill did all the beats. You know what I'm saying? It was dope. It was a dope time. It was dope to see. Miss Versi is very happy with how it turned out. So I appreciate Kill and everybody who listened to it. And it's available on every streaming platform: Spotify, Apple Music, everything. So
it made a lot of people's EPs of the year. 2 years. We dropped it last year.
Or the year before, I think, maybe.
Right. But whatever year we dropped it, it made a lot of people's EPs of the year for that year. So,
that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, very dope, very dope. Trey, talk about this new single, bro.
Man, Party Time 25, Party Time XXV. Is definitely catching the ears of the streets right now, catching the ears of the DJs. They're really pushing and ushering this thing through, and we're gonna see it to the end. And really, it's the last song that not the last song that I recorded, but the last song that I wrote for an album that's about to come out at the top of the year perspective. So just be on the lookout for that. We're going to push this single until it's time to put out this album, however long it's going to be. There's no date for the album drop. We don't even have a date for the single drop. We're just going to let the DJs rock with it, and then when it's time to go to streaming platforms and all that, we'll do that. But right now, we're just going to ride the wave.
All right.
Oh, produced by OJ's, and also he's on the hook. He's the featured artist on the record as well.
All right, no doubt. Rel, what's good with you, bro?
Man, chilling. Finally back in the lab. I just sent you a couple joints.
I'll check them out
too. I got I'm working. A couple joints. I got a joint featuring Aaron Neville.
This is gonna be the running fucking joke.
Oh my god! Oh god!
This is gonna be the running joke.
Look, I hope Aaron Neville ain't a goon in real life.
I know, we're in trouble. We're in trouble if he is.
Right.
I rock with you, Aaron Neville. I rock with you, homie. I rock with you.
Hey. My bad, Aaron.
Yeah, no disrespect about the birthmark either, bro. I understand. that ain't your fault. Like, nigga, just come wherever you born. So.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. You know. In the lab, man. That's it, man. Oh, I got a headache.
JR.
R&B Reps. My video that I just did is, well, this will be on Monday. So video I got out is my Flashback Friday. I'm doing Leon Silvers and Kashif. To really respect those two, like people kind of gloss over them and they kind of go right from the disco to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and I feel like Leon and Kashif are like the bridge. So I did like a 30-minute video about it just to prove that them two had a sound that you can't gloss over them to go to somebody else. So that's the video that's out. Me and Elise have a video, Catch that will be out. We did Destiny's Child, Destiny Fulfilled. So that's dope. And then we got a couple of dope Catch that's coming out, which I'm excited for y'all to see. So one of them is with Grad. So that's a good one. So yeah, that's in the bag. So check us out, the R&B Reps on Twitter, Instagram, JR Girl of Soul on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Trap.
I just want to say
shit after Aaron Neville anymore, so I'm just y'all. When they say that people run their asylum, just do what y'all do.
I just want to say any y'all stupid. Man. Any DJ that needs the record, please DM me on Twitter. That's TRAYLEE. DM me on Facebook. It's Tracy Lee. DM me on IG. That's Tracy Lee ESQ, TRACEYLEE ESQ. Same thing with TikTok, TRACEYLEE ESQ. DM me, I will get you the record personally, and I'm also doing drops for all DJs. So just hit me up, get the record for me, and let's rock and give it to everybody you know. You know what I mean?
Yo, real quick shout out to Bay and JR just for their podcast and stuff that they do. One of my homegirls, Shauna, had hit me up and she was saying she was starting a podcast. Long story short, somebody was asking me, like, how you feel about all these hip hop podcasts? And I was like, yo, if people know what the fuck they talking about, I love it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, you know, people like, oh, it's not competition. It's like, to me, it's like having a church. If your goal is to get souls saved, then there aren't enough churches in the world. You know, but if your goal is to get all the members, see, that's different. See, you know what I mean? It's a different mindset. And these two guys right here know their shit. So again, if you fuck with me, you will fuck with both of them. Please follow them. Check out their shows, all that shit. JR, this nigga is a fucking alien. You know what I mean? Because like I said, again, not people up here, but again, I don't know a lot about the soul music, you know, like that comes up. I'm very single oriented. I don't know those album cuts from a lot of the people from the 60s. And this is the cat right there who can explain that to you. You already know what it is. Kill 889, Twitter, IG. Yeah, so thank you, Aaron Neville, for the jokes. Vegas. He'll be performing. He'll be back. You know, we're next week with more jokes. And we're out. You know, I'll check y'all next week, man.